It's holiday season, and that means it's time for pie. I'm talking about that flaky crust that harbors inside itself the soft, sweet, robust taste of pumpkin pie. Oh, yes, as a black man, I enjoy pumpkin pie over sweet potato. Whatever nebulous black card that exists that is all too routinely swiped for white folks at the barbecue that they always seem to get into, this is not going to apply. I'm sure whatever brothers and sisters that are listening to this podcast right now have already opened up their black handbook. And then I'm sure it says on page 333, section 27, clause 2 of the Black People Handbook, and I quote, "In order to retain blackness in its entirety, one must prefer sweet potato pie over pumpkin pie." Damn all that, man. I love pumpkin products. That's one of the main things that I love about the fall. I mean, if you know me, I'm not fond of Starbucks, yoga pants, small dogs, or any general other levels of caucasity. But I love everything and all things pumpkins. Hell, I just had a pumpkin spice latte today at Starbucks. See, this reminds me, a few holidays ago, back when the patty pies were really popping, I went over to Kroger, went to go ahead and get myself nice pumpkin pie. So I'm over here in the checkout aisle. It's late at night. Usually I've been waiting for quite some time because, of course, they decide to only have one damn lane open whenever you're there past 8 in the evening. So I'll go ahead, get up to the front, swiping's going on. All of a sudden, the sister that's there, she stops midway in the swipe and says, "You know this is pumpkin pie, right? We got sweet potato." I said, No. That's what I want. I want the pumpkin pie. She looked at me and snatched every inch of blackness out of my being. I mean, the look was as if I walked into a Black History Month gala for the kids with a white woman on my arm. I mean, she looked at me like I was one of those black family members that's playing spades, and I went ahead and cut her on a book. She looked at me in total disgust. And I'm just saying, what's up with that? We're supposed to go ahead and expand ourselves, right? We're not supposed to be a monolith. We're supposed to be these black folks out here in the new age millennium that's doing any and everything. I mean, Serena gets to play tennis. We cheering on Simone Biles and beating the competition and getting gold medals. So how can we cheer for all these things, but we can't cheer for a palate that likes pumpkin pie? That's a damn shame, y'all. You can't judge me for enjoying that. So then I started doing a little bit of research on the whole pumpkin pie versus sweet potato pie debate. So I had to go ahead and first understand the enemy that is sweet potato. And I found some information here that said during the 16th century, Brits from Europe brought the tradition of making pumpkin pies for dessert to West Africa. So along the way, when they were scheming on how they were going to steal our ancestors, I guess they decided to say, hey, let's go ahead and give them a little bit of pie along the way too. And the tradition was soon brought to America during slavery, where the African slaves transformed the dessert into something sweeter using yams than sweet potatoes. Coincidentally, yams and black-eyed peas was a common food that slaves were fed during the Middle Passage. The name of the food was inconsistent at first because the yam and sweet potato come from two different types of plants. The word in African dialects usually goes as yam yam, or a few other yams with a few other meanings. Yams are a different family than the pumpkin. So sweet potatoes are for the morning glory plant family. Sweet potato pie recipes made a cookbook debut in the 18th century. In the late part of the 19th century, Fanny Farmer featured a recipe for glazed sweet potatoes in the Boston Cooking Schoolbook. Soon after, inventor George Washington Carver, yes, the Peanut Man, the person that every black kid other than Martin Luther King decided, I'm going to go ahead and do a Black History Month presentation on George Washington Carver, where it starts out talking about the peanut. So that same George Washington Carver found various uses for the sweet potato, including a canned version. He released over 100 uses for the vegetable. So as slaves made the pie for large gatherings and celebration as part of family meals, the tradition has continued for family gatherings and black family reunions today. So that's the history of the sweet potato. Now, I get that I'm an African American myself. of Nigerian and of indigenous black lineage and heritage. However, I'm sorry, just because there are things in our heritage that we need to go ahead and keep the tradition going, pumpkin pie isn't harming anybody. I mean, do we all still need to go ahead and eat hog mogs, chitlins, and pig feet? No, we have given up those things. Now, I'm not saying I don't like sweet potato. I'll eat a sweet potato pie, but my preference just has to be for pumpkin. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even trying to go ahead and trash and down the sweet potato, but let's be honest here. If it was really that popping, I don't see no sweet potato ice cream. I don't see no sweet potato lattes. I don't see no sweet potato spice. No. All those things are revolved for pumpkin. That inside of it, you go ahead and you cut open the top of it. It's got those magical seeds in it that now you think you're being fancy when you go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and you put the little pumpkin seeds on top of your salad. That's pumpkin right there. There are no such things, I think, as sweet potato seeds. But if there were sweet potato seeds, you ain't putting sweet potato seeds on your kale. So let's be real now. Instead, we talking about pumpkin. That's what we talking about. I ain't came here to talk about practice. We talking about pumpkin. So you got the seeds, and you can go ahead and you can roast them. You can go ahead and put them in your salad. You can go ahead and grind them up probably for medicinal purposes, and they're probably sold at whatever type of swap meet or whatever type of farmer's market may be. I mean, yams are great, and I'm all for them in the West African tradition and use, but it's just not the same. I mean, you can't go ahead and cut open a yam, even if it's one of them huge tuber yams that's coming straight from the motherland. You can't cut that open. You can't go ahead and draw a face on there. Kids are not showing up on Halloween and seeing yams hanging out there. So if you really are that Afrocentric, that's what I want you to do. Go ahead and carve a yam, damn it. And let's see what that gets you. You know what that's going to get you? It's going to leave you with a whole bunch of leftover candy. The good candy and the bad candy, because ain't nobody walking up to your damn house if they see that you got some carved yams from outside. Instead, your homeowners association's probably going to send you a letter saying don't do that no more. So in closing, I just got to say it, I understand. If you're a brother or a sister that happens to go ahead and enjoy pumpkin pie, then I want you to go ahead and go on the Twitter for the sonicbreakdown.com and for the Stay Woke podcast and leave your stories of when you were judged by somebody from your family, by somebody in your community, because you decided to go ahead and catch the harvest fever. Not the jungle fever, but the harvest fever. When you go ahead and you get yourself a nice pumpkin pie. And you know another great thing about the pumpkin pie, if you happen to go ahead and be at a black function over the holidays for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, is you ain't got to share that thing with nobody. You can actually go ahead and get you a slice, and you don't have to take a second or third slice just because you worried that it ain't going to be there the next day. So for all y'all sweet potato folks, they're going to go ahead and be putting it inside of aluminum foil because you worried that it's not going to be there the next day. Just maybe you'll go ahead and you'll take a walk on the wild side and you will try the deliciousness that is the Orange King of pumpkin pie. This is Benjamin Owakari Ananawo, and this is Stories with Ben, and I just want to say have a happy holidays, and I'll see you on the flip side.